Hey guys, it's Sid with SVTPerformance.com, and I am at the 2022 PRI show in Indianapolis, and you can see it is like 0 dark 30 outside. I'm going to take you guys around and show you some of the cool stuff in this series of videos. I'm just going to start popping these things out on the regular this weekend. Lots of fun stuff to see, like this Bob Glidden tribute car that was built. This is a pretty neat story. Pause it if you want to read that. But this is super cool Fox chassis, built as it would have been back in the day. I mean, check out inside this thing. That's awesome. Even have sort of a period correct pit vehicle with it. I like the exhaust coming out the side. If you like Ford golf carts, I've got one of those for you. But we're gonna have tons and tons of coverage coming up, like I said, all weekend long. We'll be here walking around, talking to people. Got some interesting interviews lined up. So if you don't want to miss out on any of that, be sure to subscribe, like, all that good stuff. And we've got all the coverage grouped together over on SVTPerformance.com. I'll put a link in the description below. So if you just want to go to one place and see it all, that's where it'll be. Until then, check out some of the other cool stuff they've got sitting around here at the PRI show. Just walking through the hall, they've got a pulling tractor, so that's nice to see. This thing's wearing all kinds of bodywork, so you can't actually tell much about it. It's been many years since I've been to a tractor pulling event. Front suspension's pretty neat on this though. Let's get a little bit of light in here. That's better. They're running airbags on an independent front suspension. Thought that was pretty cool. They've got a homemade race car from way back when. What caught my eye on this thing is it's got a overhead valve conversion. And you can see that's your old school Ford, Model T 4-cylinder block with an aftermarket cylinder head. Looks like it's all built aluminum. These are, originally valve and block. So converting it over to overhead valve, probably worth a little bit of power. Get rid of that flathead. And then got a little Fox body drag car, yet another one with Coyote. I'm gonna be seeing a lot of this kind of stuff. I'm here before anybody's actually in their booths or anything yet. Oh, there's a few guys, but the show doesn't officially open up for I think another hour and a half, 2 hours. So I get the free reign of this stuff that's accessible here. I need to talk to these guys, Tank Sealer, KBS. Let's check this out. This is the inside of a fuel tank in a Honda motorcycle, and it's like rusty as crap. Put their stuff in, stops the rust. I've got a few fuel tank projects that could use this kind of attention, so I'll have to come back and talk to these guys. We've got a late model dirt car, and mark my words, this is going to end up being the most popular form of motorsports in a few years. This is what all the grassroots guys are getting into. And it's so much fun to watch these things go around the track. What's even more interesting is the friggin' payouts on late model dirt races are way better than asphalt. If this is what I think it is, they really worked overtime putting this car back together. So it's pretty easy to see I am way early. Like, nobody's in here yet. It's one of the advantages of being able to get in just a little bit early ahead of the normal traffic. I like to take advantage of that and just sort of walk around and get my bearings and everything, because this show is enormous. For you guys that don't know, PRI is not a car show, it is a car parts show. Specifically, it stands for Performance Racing Industry, so it's race car parts. So this is basically the male version of SEMA. Unfortunately, it's in Indianapolis now. I preferred it when it was in Orlando, but you're going to hear just about everybody that doesn't live in this area complain about that. So I'm just going to leave that alone. But check out Rosso. I mean, it's everything. There's GM. If you're a mouth breather, that's a great place to be. Ford booth is probably around here somewhere, but keep walking, keep looking. So I showed you a late model dirt car earlier. Here is a late model asphalt car. Basically, if you want to get into NASCAR, you're going to be racing one of these probably several times a week during the season. And like I said, the crazy thing is this is a very expensive form of grassroots motorsports, and the payouts are less than the dirt cars. You would think the dirt cars, they're cheaper to run, cheaper to build, would be cheaper payouts. You make a lot more money on dirt, a lot more $50,000 races, $30,000 races, things like that. And Strange has these guys covered with their axle shafts and spools and everything you need to build one's rear, including, check this out, you got independent rear suspension. Very nice, very heavy duty looking. If you're shopping for tools or shop equipment, maybe you need a Mazak CNC milling machine, they got you covered. A little bit of everything. More CNC machines. Check out this sander. Get that thing flattened so it won't leak. Cleaners, millers here with welders. Now, if you want shop tools, they've got it. So how many of you guys are running an FR9 in your build? Probably not a ton of you, but Jess will have some really nice looking roller rockers if you got that application. Bunch of Chevy stuff. Got big block Ford down here on the bottom, and then some of the less exotic alternatives. I like those steel ones though, and of course all kinds of fun stuff. Good old Ford head. I think that's a 2.3. And then every different version of a lifter you can imagine. Looks like we beat the VMP crew to their booth this morning, but they've got some stuff to show off. We just had a video on their renewed throttle bodies. It looks like they're just showing off their new throttle bodies, but that's on the channel. So if you want to know how to save a ton of money on one of these things, definitely check out that video. I mean, like, on one of these, you can save $400 if you go with the renewed version. And then all you're going to deal with is maybe a marker, like a witness mark around the bolt hole. For $400, I can handle that. Then they've got all their intercooler setups for GT500, all their various water neck options. So you can change the size of these depending on how much flow you can run through your pump, your core, all that. There's a science to all this kind of stuff. VMP's got that kind of stuff figured out. Some of their fuel system componentry. Of course, they're famous Odin supercharger, the one that started it all over here. They're just still one of my favorite. I think this is just a great looking blower. And the new Apex Predator lid for the GT500. We've got videos coming up too on these belt drive setups that they have with their own take on things and their own brackets. So watch out for that on the channel. If you don't want to miss that, definitely subscribe. Looks like Schaefer's Oil is still working on getting their booth together. I've never used their stuff, but I've always heard that it's really good. And they've got a 3,000 horsepower 12 valve Cummins in their booth. I don't know how much Cummins is left in this thing. It looks like it still has a factory head on it, but the block and probably everything else is all billet aftermarket, even the P-pump. We keep talking about roundy round racing, but if that's what you want to do, you probably need to give like Capital Race Cars these guys a call. Get you a turnkey car pretty much. Just have to set it up the way you want it. Found a couple more booths of interest, and once again I have beat the entire crews to them. Got Magnus in here. We used to run their supercharger on our S197 back in the day. That was a good little blower setup for that car, good street blower. But if you want a Ford-based Magnuson now, that's VMP. The Magnuson makes their blowers for them. Really good quality stuff. Like those. Very nice. And then we've got Aeromotive over here. And they've been getting more and more into the fuel hat business, but they got a new one out that I wanted to show you. This thing, I need to talk to somebody about this. So, S197, S550 Mustang, in-tank A1000. Now, if you want to see how much power this thing can handle, forced induction, talking 700 horsepower, single pump, in-tank, or you can start getting into the crazy stuff, bigger pumps. On E85, the 5.0 pump has support almost 2,000 horsepower, which is absolute insanity on one of these. Crazy stuff. And we found HP tuners, and got Joanne's car in the booth, friend of the channel. And if you guys don't know her, she races this all over the place. But if you don't know her, you probably know her dad from back in the day, prolific Cobra tuner, Lidio at Alternative Auto up in Detroit. And he's still in the game and still very, very good if you're in that area. Good shop to visit. So this video does not do this justice, but it's just your average carbon fiber wide body Ford GT in the Forge Line booth. Yeah, you guys definitely can't see the build quality on this thing through video. It's insane. Found Cooks, and if you guys haven't seen this, this is their mid-length header setup for S550s. Connects to the factory catalytic converters. Although I'm guessing it's just early S550 because the later ones you got the catifold deal where it's all welded together. But I guess you could get the pipe off of a early one if you've got a later S550 if you wanted to run these. Ooh, classic Bronco is pretty. What's cool is you can build an entirely brand new one of these out of just new parts. Everything, frame, axles, every body panel, everything is available for one of these now. So that's why you see so many new ones on the road. Could definitely use these in my garage. Moduline makes pretty nice stuff, and you make it for your trailer as well. Well, this is fancy. Ooh. This is not too bad at all. Sometimes I just have to be quiet and let you guys soak all this in. This car is phenomenal. And we found the Ford booth in a new location. Got a bunch of 7.3 stuff, including their new Megazilla crate motor with the more car appropriate intake manifold, but we're going to cover that a little bit more in depth later. I think this is a good place to end this video. So if you want to see more about what they've got going on here with this new 7.3 crate motor, you know, with the new intake manifold, this thing, it looks like it is almost production ready. So looks pretty good. We're going to get more in depth on this though, so if you want to know more about that, subscribe, and we'll have a lot more coming up from the PRI show. Got some really cool interviews planned, a lot of interesting stuff to see. Getting a little bit late in the day, and I mean that the show is actually opening now. You can see there's people, so that means it's time for me to go edit a little bit of video so you guys can see this, what I've got going on here. And we'll have a lot more from the Ford booth and the rest of the PRI show coming up. So subscribe, like, all that good stuff. If you want to see it all, it's over on SVTPerformance.com. Link is down below in the description. I always say that. It's always true. I don't lie to you. So if you want to see it, head over there, and we'll be bringing you more videos throughout the week.